Hi, I'm Isaac and you're watching Isaac's Bushcraft and Survival. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make 3 of the best fire starters that you can use to get a fire going in any weather conditions. As you can see, I have all the items and ingredients here to make our fire starters. So let's get started. So the first fire starter that I'm going to be showing you is one of the easiest to make. All you need is a cotton ball and some Vaseline or petroleum jelly. And what you do is you take your cotton ball and you fluff it up a bit, get those fibers exposed so it catches a spark easier. You take your petroleum jelly, open it up, then you take some and you swab it, get a decent swab of petroleum jelly. Then you take that and set it down here. Gets a little bit sticky sometimes because of the petroleum jelly, so it likes to stick all over the place. But then what you can do is you can take a lighter, a ferro rod, or a match and ignite it. I have 2 here. One I'm going to ignite with a ferro rod. The other I'm going to ignite with a match, just so you can see how effective they burn. It gets sticky. So here's the first one. I'm going to start with a ferro rod. Had a little bit of an issue trying to get it going because the petroleum jelly got all over the place. And if it gets on your ferro rod, it makes it hard to strike. So it looks like it's not burning very hot, but once it hits that petroleum jelly right there, it's going to ignite and burn hotter. And it acts almost like a candle wick. And the other one, I'm just going to use a match and ignite. As you can see, this one over here is starting to burn hotter because of the petroleum jelly. It takes time for it to get going. The more petroleum jelly you put on, the easier it is to get going. It's almost like a candle. Basically, with a candle, you have the wick and you have the fuel, which is the wax. It's kind of the same thing with the petroleum jelly. The cotton ball is the wick, and the wax that you're burning, or what you're burning, is the petroleum jelly. And when you burn that, it's almost like if you try to separate the wick from a candle and the wax from a candle. The wax from the candle won't burn. The wick will burn, but only for like half a minute. So when you combine them, you get a great flame. It's just like that with the petroleum jelly and with the cotton ball. The petroleum jelly kind of melts into the cotton ball, and as it burns, it helps it get going really, really hot. And I'll just show you quick how fast a normal cotton ball will burn up. It doesn't take long before it burns up. Because some of these Vaseline ones will burn for about 5 minutes. I'd set a timer earlier, and it burns for about 5 minutes. As you can see, the cotton ball that I just ignited only burned for like half a minute, or maybe a few seconds. It doesn't burn very long. As you can see, the Vaseline gets really hot. It can ignite very wet wood. You can use it for snowy weather, rainy weather, or just in general getting a fire going fast because of the heat it produces. It's just an all-around great one to have in your backpack or survival pack or any of those, because it burns hot. It gets really, really hot. And if you can have a sustained flame like that, like these flames are like 5 inches tall, you can have a fire going really easily, even with wood that is not perfectly dry. So it's just a great option. That's one of the easiest methods of getting a good, strong fire going in pretty much any condition shy of a hurricane. So the next one that I'm going to be showing you is going to be one that you use Basically similar principle, except you use petroleum jelly, melted wax, and cotton balls. You don't add, you add sawdust instead. So that's the next one I'll be showing you. So I'm gonna get ready to get that together, and I'll bring you over and show you that. So for our next fire starter, we're gonna need some petroleum jelly. We're gonna need some sort of wax. Any type of wax will work, beeswax. This is some wax I got from an old wax melter. The smell is all gone, so that will work. But any type of wax will do. We're gonna add some of that to our mixture later. We're gonna need some sort of wood shavings. What I have here is some pencil shavings. Any type of wood shavings will do. I found the pencil ones to be nice because you can get a lot of them from a lot of different sharpeners if you grind down a pencil or something like that. But you can get wood shavings from even some sort of lumber yard if they have any lying around. You can get some of those. Sawdust will work too. Any type of stuff like that will do. Any form of wood shavings will work. We'll also need a glue stick, an empty one preferably. You could use a full one, but an empty one will do. I just have an old Elmer's one. Any type will work. I'll show you what we're going to be doing with that a little bit later. But for right now, I'm going to be getting our mixture ready. So what I'm going to use to heat up our mixture is we're going to heat up our Vaseline and our wax and melt it, and then we'll stir in our wood shavings. Before what I'm using, I'm going to be using my homemade alcohol stove that I made. I'll be showing you that and how to make it on a future video. But for now, it works really well for a lot of different purposes. But for now, I'm going to use this to melt our Vaseline and our wax. I'll fill it up here, get it lit, let it heat up so we can start melting our stuff. And that'll work great for that. But no, it works good for cooking over as well. So like I said, I'll show you that in a future video. It's a great thing to use for cooking or any sort of cooking at all in the outdoors if you don't want to use a fire. But I'm just going to start it up here. There we go, we got it started. I'm going to let that heat up for a few minutes so that it gets time to melt. So in our container, I'm going to be using just an old tin can, which any metal container will work. Tin can works really well. We're going to add some of our wax. We're going to break up some of our wax and add it in. You'd probably like step on your wax or smash it or crush it or just chop it up and put it in. You want preferably smaller so it'll help melt easier. We're going to need some of our Vaseline. So I'll just put our wax in there. For our Vaseline, we're just going to take a big old scoop here with a spoon. Get a good amount and scoop it up and put it in. Kind of like ice cream or something like that. We're going to mix it in, put it in. Going to add a little bit more. And we're going to scrape it in. Then after this melts, we're going to add in our, once this melts, we're going to add in our wood shavings. And the wood shavings will act kind of like the cotton balls in the other video. It helps get your fire stuff burning. So we'll be putting this on the fire once it gets heated up. So I gotta give it a few minutes to heat up. It takes time. And I'll be back when that gets heated up. So as you can see, our alcohol stove has got up to temp. It's a little bit difficult to see here, but because the flames are clear or blue, but It's gone up to temp. And we're gonna add on top our wax and Vaseline and let that melt. It's gonna take a little time. Well, depending on how hot it is, it's actually not taking too long at all. Once it melts, we're gonna stir it up a bit. That'll help it get going more. It's kind of smoking a little bit here. Just getting ready to melt it and add in our wood shavings. I'm gonna throw in a little bit more wax. As that's melting, I'm going to show you what we're going to do here with this glue stick. We're going to take it and we're going to take the glue, and this one had a little bit more glue in it than I would have liked, but what we're going to do is we're going to scrape that off or break it off. And you'll have that piece left, and what you're going to do is you're going to try to scrape it out. You can try using, I'm going to try using the bottom of this spoon to scrape it out here. Scrape out a little bit there. Try to scrape out a little bit more if possible. It's not the easiest here. Just scrape it out. We'll have that open, cleaned up pretty well. We're gonna put that back in, screw it down all the way. And then once we get done with that, we'll get our fuel melting. I think the alcohol stove went out, so I'm gonna have to relight it. It gets difficult because right now it's pretty cold out, so, oh no, it didn't go out, okay. It just needs time to melt. I thought it went out because I've had issues with that before where it went out because it was so chilly. But it's doing better than I thought it was, I guess. So, yeah, we'll just give that time to do its thing, to melt. Mix up the wax and the Vaseline, and hopefully that melts soon. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put in our wood shavings. We're going to put them into the glue stick once we get the glue stick down all the way. We're going to take it. We're going to shove in our wood shavings, as many as we can. Try to make sure we don't get any by the flames. We don't want a fire in here. But yeah, so we're just going to keep shoving our wood shavings in there best we can. Probably use the back of the spoon to just shove this in. Gets a little bit messy, but it's worth it. I think the best bet is to just loosely place them in. Then we'll pour the wax over it once it melts. Make sure that's all off there. I'm going to swipe some of these shavings away. But no, here, this is what it looks like before we add our wax. I'm gonna let that sit there. My hands cleaned off, they're filthy. But it's not the cleanest thing to work on and do. As you can see right now, our wax is pretty much melted. We still got a little bit of Vaseline melting at this point, but for now it's looking good. We got our container here to put our wax in once we're ready. It's almost melted. Once it's fully melted, we'll start pouring it in and hopefully don't overfill it. Otherwise you get wax all over the place. That gets messy. As you can see, it's smoking a little bit. Once this is melted, I'll blow out the alcohol stove and move that away so we have room to add in our wax and see how hot it is. It's not too bad. I might have to let it cool just a little bit before I start grabbing it. I'm gonna take it and stir it up a little bit. Just make sure everything's mixed. Take this and wipe off the edge a little bit. There's still a little residual glue, not a huge issue. Just gonna set that side here, wait till it's melted. Okay, so the wax is pretty much all melted here. It's pretty much all melted up. So I'm gonna set this here. We're gonna take it off and I'm gonna blow out my alcohol stove, if I can. Okay, it doesn't blow out very well. I'm gonna have to smother it with something. I have a plastic container here. This will work good, just to smother it out for now, if I can. Takes a minute or two. Okay, it's smothered. I'm gonna move this out of the way here. I'm gonna get a little bit more light so we can see stuff. But yeah, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our wax, we're gonna pour it onto our shavings here. Let it settle in, keep pouring. It's working the way we want it to. Takes a little time. Oh, overfilled it a little bit. We keep pouring as we need to. This gets a bit messy, so once the wax hardens, we're gonna have to clean up some stuff, but gets a little bit hot, so you might want to wear some sort of mitts or something. Gonna let it settle and then keep pouring, do the same thing over and over till it's full. Because as you can see, it's bubbling. When it's bubbling, it's letting the air out for the wax to get in. So that's good. Then what we can do is we can take it, and once it's hard, you actually take off a piece or a chunk and light it with a match. Or you can light it with a ferro rod. It depends. I gotta keep adding in more wax here. This isn't an easy process. It depends. It might work better if you use a deodorant stick. You take out the deodorant, put it in there instead. I've seen where you can add the shavings straight to the wax, and that works, but it makes it harder to transfer it into the container because you're having to scrape and then pound it in, scrape and pound it in, versus this to where it just slowly settles in. Liquid wax settles in around the wood shavings. So as you can see, it gets a little bit messy, but no, it's working good. Takes a little time. It's bubbling a little bit. That lets out the air. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm lighting it. But yeah, so that's how you fill it up. If it starts settling down more, I'll put in more wax. But yeah, I'll come back to you guys when I get ready to light it, because I'm just going to be filling up more and more wax into it. So okay, so as you can see, we got cleaned up. All I had to do was run it under some hot water and melt the wax and Vaseline that was all over it. It's melted, and so all we have to do is take off the cap now, and as you can see, it's hardened. What we're going to do is we're going to screw the end so that it comes out. As you can see, we're getting some of it out. We're going to take a knife, we're going to score it or cut some off. I'll set it there. And I'm going to see if I can light it with a ferro rod. If not, I'll be using a match. but hopefully we can get the ferro rod to work with it, because it'd be nice to be able to start it with the ferro rod, because then you don't have to have two things in your survival kit. But we'll test it out with the ferro rod and see if it works or not. Come on, ignite. Yeah, it's not igniting with ferro rod. Did it? Almost. Oh, I think it ignited. Yes, it did. Okay. So ignited with the ferro rod. It took a little bit of scraping, as you can see, but it ignited. And it's burning pretty well. I'm not sure how long this will burn. I'm guessing probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so. As you can see, it's burning really well. I'm going to light one with a match just so you can see if it's easier or not to use the match versus a ferro rod. We're going to scrape a little bit more off. I'm going to try to ignite it with a match. We'll see if I can get that done. These are some old waterproof matches that I have. So they're a little bit harder to ignite. There we go. We got it ignited. So as you can see, they're burning really well. This one is also great for wet, snowy, rainy conditions. So as you can see, it just burns and burns and burns. It burns hot, burns long. You'll get a good fire going with it. It takes a little bit of effort, like I said, to melt it and get it in there, but I think if you use a deodorant container, it worked the best. It worked great for getting the fire going. It's just a lot bigger, so you can get a lot more fire starter in one small area versus in this. Like, this works good, but you'll get more fire starter and more bang for your buck, kinda, for using a deodorant container, because it's like twice as wide but like a few more inches long. So as you can see, it's burning really well. I'm honestly surprised at how well this is working. It's like one of the best fire starters. It's nice because you can just take a knife, scrape some off, and ignite it and use it, versus having to carry around cotton balls and Vaseline all the time. So it makes it so this is a better option if you want to be able to carry it around in a stick and use it for getting a fire going that way, versus having to carry around Vaseline and cotton balls all the time. So it depends on what you kind of want or are looking for, but as far as it goes, this is working phenomenally. I don't know how long it's going to burn. I mean, it's been burning for a good 3 minutes already. So yeah, it's very hot. As you can see, the flames are about like 6 inches tall. It's insane. But yeah, I add the wax to this to help it burn a little bit more. You don't have to. You can just use the Vaseline and the wood shavings, and it'll burn just as well and work just as well. It might even be easier because it makes it a little bit thinner, or it's not hard. Like when you add the wax, it makes it a little bit harder, which is good if you want more of a glue consistency or a harder waxy consistency. If you don't want that though, I'd advise adding in your Vaseline and just doing Vaseline, because just doing the Vaseline is a much better option. You'll get more of the, it'll be softer, so it'll ignite easier. They'll burn pretty much the same. This might burn longer because it has more wax. That could be. But all around, this is a great option if you want to just have it in a little, like I said, a little container that you can put in your backpack, survival kit. It's just a great option, especially if you use like a match or a lighter. It makes it much easier to light. I obviously showed you I was able to get it going with a ferro rod, and that works. But at the end, it works better to use a match or a lighter or something like that, because it works way better, because it's just a flame, you touch it and it's on fire. So, but no, this should burn for another, probably another 10 minutes. It's already been burning for almost 5. So yeah, but the next one I'm going to be doing will be, you actually mix soap and gasoline. You gotta be careful. Obviously, gasoline is very highly flammable and can explode, so be careful when you're mixing it. Don't have any flames around, or don't smoke or anything while you're doing it. But no, I'll be showing you that one here next. It works really well. Yeah, I might like that one even better than this one. Like I said, this one's working great. But each one varies. You know, it's kind of your choice of which one you want to do. They all work great for winter weather, snowy weather, rainy weather. So I will be coming back to you guys when I get the one fire starter, the last one, done. So I'll be getting this last gasoline fire starter ready, and I'll be back with you. Okay, for this next fire starter, we're going to need some sort of grater. We can use a kitchen grater. I'm using a kitchen grater you can use for cheese or some other different items. This back is a bit coarser of a grind. I'm using the smoother side. We're also going to need some sort of soap. A lot of different soaps will work. I just have a cheap variety here that'll work good. And we're going to need some gasoline. And just a pre-warning before doing this fire starter is make sure you don't smoke or don't have some sort of a flame around. Otherwise, you can get injured really badly and get burned. So just be careful before you start this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take our grater and I'm going to start grating our soap. Grate it and make it fine. We'll collect that, and then we're going to add that into our container. And we'll put in our gasoline. And as we're doing that, you can see we get fine shavings or fine powder almost. We'll mix that with the gasoline later, but for now I'm going to keep grinding. Takes a little bit of time. Okay, so we have our soap all shaved, turned into shavings. So now what we're going to do is we'll put this in a container here. Try not to spill any. We're going to take it, we're going to add our gas to it. Till it fills up just a bit around it. That's probably about good, just to make it turn into a paste as we let it sit. As you can see, there's gas there. So we're gonna let that sit for about a half hour, and I'll be back when that's ready to test. So it's been about 30 minutes later, and our mixture has turned into sludge. So that's the mixture of the soap and the gasoline. If you want it thicker, you can add more soap shavings. If you want it thinner, you can add more gasoline. I wouldn't advise going any thinner than this, because otherwise it will get close to exploding when you try to ignite it. But just a key detail that you need to know as well is if you're going to store it, make sure that you store it in a high density polyethylene container like this one. You can tell because it has the 2 inside the recycling triangle. It'll have high density polyethylene, which is HDPE. You'll want one of those type of containers, otherwise like a pop bottle or something else like that will melt. So just make sure you use the right type of plastic. Otherwise it will melt when you're trying to hold your mixture. But I'm gonna get ready to light this. I'm gonna ignite it with a ferro rod. I'm gonna scoop a little bit out and ignite it. It's very flammable. You want to make sure, like I said, you have it in a good container because you don't want it to catch a spark or something from a different unknown source. That would not be good. You don't want an unexpected fire. So I'm going to ignite this. As you can see, ignited very readily. It didn't explode, but it did ignite really, really well. This will burn for a good long, probably 5-10 minutes. And it burns really hot. Like it's got about 10-inch tall flames. It's amazing for getting a fire going in wet weather. I'm actually thinking of keeping this in my backpack. It's that effective and that helpful. It works great, but you gotta be careful, like I said, as you're making it, because any mixture of gasoline and you can have flames and go up in flames really quickly, and you don't want that. So just be careful as you're doing this. Again, I just want to cover that because you don't want to get injured doing this. Burns aren't fun. So, but yeah, no, as you can tell, it's burning very, very well. This is something I'm probably going to be keeping in my backpack all the time. It's very useful, very effective, and it works very, very incredibly well. So this is the last fire starter I'm going to be showing you. I hope you enjoyed watching and learning the different fire starters with me, and I will see you on the next video. And please consider subscribing and liking if you like this type of content. I'm going to be producing more in the future, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you on the next one.